Rasslin Rage. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Rasslin Rage. I'm joined by Sean Tyler today. Now, before I ask him any questions, make sure to smash the thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. So, my man, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me, boss.
Awesome. We're going to talk about a lot of things today, but the first thing I want to talk about is you've been around for a while now. I did a little looking up, and I didn't know this, and this is something I just kind of learned. You're trained by Dan Severn. I did not know that.
Yep. Originally, yeah, I've been in the business for, as of this past August 9th, 13 years. I trained originally under Dan Severn, Josh Raymond, and Jack Thriller. Yeah, with a little bit of training from Jimmy Jacobs too.
So that's a pretty big. That's some name dropping right there. So you got involved. Well, what sent you, like, when you were thinking about becoming a professional wrestler? Was it like, were you like, did you seek out Dan Severn? Was it just kind of, how did it happen?
Okay, so it's kind of weird actually, because I'm gonna talk about something that's it's not as much taboo as it used to be, but like back in the day, when I was a stupid teenager getting into my like super early 20s, I was a backyard wrestler, and a bunch of buddies of mine, we talked about finding a school, and then a guy that we knew locally in my hometown who trained at Shawn Michaels School in Texas offered to train us. Well, one of my buddies was highly against it, and I kind of stood behind him and was like, it's probably not a good idea. And my friend, actually, the one that was against it, found the Dan Severn School in Coldwater, Michigan. And he'd been trying to convince me to go, but it was 2 hours away from where we lived, so that was kind of a hassle. But he convinced me to come out, and I trained like that following fall with him, and like the rest is history. Like he stuck with it for a couple more years after we started. I just kept going.
Wow, now that's pretty awesome that you were able to do something like that. So you said you drove. You obviously, did you drove 2 hours to go train with Dan Severn? Well, like, how often did you train?
The classes were twice a week. They were Mondays and Wednesdays, and they ran from 6 until usually like 6 until 9. So it was like 2 hours each way for a 3-hour class twice a week. So we were driving a grand total of 8 hours a week just to be able to go to class.
Wow, that's crazy, but that's the dedication, and that's the dedication it takes to do something like become a professional wrestler, obviously.
Oh yeah.
So you went through his training, and I'm sure I can only assume that with him being as badass as he is, that it had to be some pretty intense training.
Okay, so his training is way different now. And since getting into the business, I've actually been a part of a couple of different schools. But his training is different than any other school that I'd ever seen or even heard of. Like, you have to learn how to do certain things before you can even touch the ring. Like, you have to really understand, like, what it is we do before you're even allowed to step foot in between the ropes. It's kind of... It's intense, and for some people, that aspect of the training can take months. Others, it can take a few weeks. It just all depends on how fast you pick it up. But like that training specifically, especially with Jack Thriller, and Jack Thriller is no joke. If you know who Jack Thriller is, like, that is a guy that, like, I love that guy to death, but that guy put us through hell when you first started. But it's good though, because we wouldn't have gotten to where we were without that specifically. But
for sure.
Yeah, like Dan Severn is, for as intense of a guy as he is, he's also one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet too.
Right, and I've had some minimal interaction with them, but and the interaction I have had with them was pleasant. So now you get out of training, and you're not from Michigan, am I correct?
Now, originally I'm from Northwest Indiana. My hometown is actually Michigan City,
Okay,
which is roughly about 45 minutes to an hour from Chicago.
wow. So now, what brought you to Michigan?
Initially, it was training. When I went to the school in Coldwater,
Yeah.
um, I was there for a while, training, going back and forth, and eventually I got tired of. It got to a point to where I was having car troubles. I got to a point where I was having other issues, and it's like I needed to get out of my hometown anyways. And it just so happened that the training facility in Coldwater had living space, so I just moved to the training facility. And then when I finished up on my training, I moved back to my hometown, realized why I moved away in the first place, and I had met actually a buddy of mine at the school in Coldwater who was from the Detroit area. And him and I and a couple other people that I had met through him all came back to the Detroit area. So, and that's kind of where I've stayed since then for the most part.
Well, and that's awesome because there's a pretty good independent deal going on here, and it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's kind of, it is, it's on the uprising, and that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So now you are part of a faction in the Michigan scene called the Purge,
Mhm.
a very popular faction, I might add. Everywhere you go, you hear the chants, "Purge, Purge, Purge." And
Yeah.
I've talked to a few people outside of, like, say, XICW and some other organizations, and whenever there's a Purge member in the ring, they always want to see the Purge guys win. So, can you tell me a little bit of how the Purge came about and what it's like for you to be a member of that?
Okay, so funnily enough, the Purge was not my or my friends Kevin and Pilgrim. That was not originally our idea. It was I'm sure you know the promotion Horror Slam.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, as you've seen Horror Slam kind of grow and become its own thing over the year, or like over the last couple of years that it's been around, um, it initially started as more of like a gimmicky horror movie based promotion. If you weren't around for the beginning of it, and I thought it was the coolest thing, but I had no idea how to go about becoming a part of that company, because I knew the people that ran it, but I didn't know them super well, and I didn't know how much involvement. Well, one of the guys that has a major hand in it, Briar Wellington, love that guy to death. He somehow decided that he was going to bring me and a couple other guys in just to kind of like see what we can all do. Well, initially, the first show that we debuted as the Purge on was called The Purge, and the management had this idea: we want to start a Purge faction. It had gone through a couple of different people that were supposed to be a part of it, but it settled on initially the three of us: me, Kevin Calloway, who I actually know through the House of Truth, and Justin Pilgrim, who I actually met through Horror Slam, of all things.
Right.
But like from there, a couple of promoters saw it and said, "Hey, we want to use that." And they actually went through Horror Slam to get permission to use it, which luckily I'm pretty grateful for, because it just kind of snowballed from there. We did not expect it to we didn't expect it to get to this point at all. We figured it was going to be like, okay, we're doing this gimmick for Horror Slam. And it ended up being something that we've been able to take out of state and are now starting to really expand with.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's pretty cool too, and I highly enjoy it. Again, and it's not just like you said; it's not in just one promotion. And I've seen it in a couple different ones myself. Now XICW. Now I've I've recently got into, the past couple of years going to XICW. Now they've been around for, 19 years was
Yep.
the show this month, I guess you could say this month. It was
Yep.
the 19-year anniversary of XICW. Now you've been in the business for a little bit longer, and everybody knows with Proving Ground, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. When it comes to getting into XICW, you're a rookie to, no matter what. And you're a rookie in Proving Ground. And you're with one of my personal buddies, one of my personal favorites, Shogun Jackson Stone. Tell me what it was like for you to, people that might not know, you end up partnering together, and then you end up in a match against him in the same night with Suplex Shogun rules. No, mind you, So, what's it like for you to, to be partnered with him and also be part of Proving Ground?
It's pretty crazy. Touching base on just being a part of the Proving Ground thing. This is actually my third run with XICW. The first one was about 10 years ago, when I was a part of a tag team with Joseph Schwartz called the Kosher Club. And the second run was probably about 5 years ago when I was doing my own solo thing and just really struggling to kind of figure out who I was at that time. And then this run, like, after already kind of figuring it out with the whole Purge gimmick and everything, the fact that they actually wanted to bring me on to do the Proving Ground season was actually kind of cool, because it got me an opportunity to work with a lot of people that I haven't had the opportunity to. And Shogun was actually one of those guys. Originally, Shogun was not meant to be one of the vets for this season. He was a quick fill-in due to him and Movado actually were a couple of fill-ins due to a couple of quick dropouts, unfortunately. And when I saw that Shogun was going to be involved in this, I was like, okay, this is a guy I have not worked with yet. This is a guy that could be a lot of fun, just kind of like interchanging things and, seeing how our styles and our personalities mix. And I got really excited to work with him. So and then to turn around and have a match with him the same night, I wasn't prepared for that, but that's the business. You got to do things you're not always prepared for. It's, you can never stay in a comfort zone. Otherwise you get stagnant.
For sure. I highly enjoy Proving Ground. I enjoy XICW thoroughly altogether, but Proving Ground, I really, the premise of it, of giving some of the younger guys, maybe some, not some guys that have been in business for a while, but, guys like Sam Beal and Jason Page, guys that have only been in the business for a couple of years, Hyena Hagen, what's it like? I know you've been here for a little while and you've been in the business for a while, but what is something like this Proving Ground do for the young guys that have only been in it 2-3 years?
It is actually like, it's a huge opportunity, because some of these guys are like, I don't want to say straight out of training or straight out of their schools, but some of the guys, especially in this season, are like relatively fresh to the point to where some of them have less than a year in the business, like Jason Page, who I actually met like long before all of this. Like, there are guys in this that I'm actually like, if I weren't in it, I'd be rooting for them. But it's because these are young guys that are really looking for that opportunity, and Proving Ground really is that opportunity. Because XICW, is not just your typical indie company, especially in the state of Michigan. It's pretty much the bar to be a part of in the state of Michigan. It's the biggest company in Michigan right now. For sure. And it's one of those companies that, like, it, and I've said this to a couple different people, like, every region, every state has their one promotion. Like, Illinois has AAW, Ohio has AIW, Indiana, I believe right now it's either Black Label Pro or the typical IWA Mid-South. XICW is that for Michigan. So these guys on Proving Ground trying to make a name for themselves is the perfect opportunity for anybody who started in this area or lived close to this area, you know?
Absolutely. Now, I want to, you're in Proving Ground. Obviously, you want to win. If you're not in it to win it, what are you even bothering for? But
Exactly.
what are some goals for you in your career, or for any, for your career going forward outside of Proving Ground, or besides obviously winning Proving Ground? But what are some things that you want to do, and some things you want to achieve?
The biggest thing that I really want to achieve is just make a respectable name for myself. And not just in the state of Michigan. Like, I want to be known from state to state. I want to get out of the country. I want to get out of the continent if I can. Like, that is always the goal. Like,
Amen.
if I can get national TV like anybody else, that's always the dream. But the goal right now is to just earn that respect and earn that next opportunity. My goals ultimately right now are just earn a name that people are excited to see. Earn a name that people actually like, that they're drawn to.
Right.
And
okay. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely.
I mean, after 13 years in the business, I feel like I'm at least starting to make way there for change.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Good stuff. Now, I want to tell the people out there that, if, you want to see this guy, you got to go to XICW, right? You got to go to Pro Wrestling All-Stars. You got to go to Horror Slam. All have shows this month in October, and then, look for everything going on in November. But, if you want to see things that he's done, you can go to his, social media and things like that. So do me a favor. Let these people out here know about your social media. I'm going to put it down in the description, guys. And then somewhere in here, it might fly out at you or something, but you won't be able to click it. But if you go down there, you will. So tell them your social media so they can follow you, man.
All right. So Facebook, I've got a fan page. It's Sean Tyler -The Purge. Or you can go to the group page, which is Detroit's New Founding Fathers, The Purge 313. You can also find me personally on Instagram, Sean Tyler Purge Night. You can find me on Twitter at Sean_Tyler. That's pretty much all the social media I have. I have a couple others, but they're more for personal contacts.
For sure.
And that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, the Purge. Me and the Purge guys have a YouTube page. Detroit's New Founding Fathers, The Purge 313. The goal is to try and spread as much content to you guys as we can possibly get up there.
Amen. Content is key. Definitely, man. I want to say thanks so much. I'm going to put all that stuff down in the description for you guys. And make sure, you follow him on, all the social media, check out Purge and all that stuff. Dude, for real, thank you. And I want to get another one in with you guys. I was talking to a lot of these guys, I like doing these get to know you, follow up, and then follow up. And it creates a relationship.
Yeah.
And all these fans get to know you a whole lot better, including myself. And and this is one of the beautiful things about doing Rasslin Rage. I get to know all you guys a whole lot better.
Yeah. Hey man, thank you for having me. Like, I love doing these stuff. I love doing podcasts and video podcasts and things like that. Like, I keep talking about opportunity, not to steal Ridiculoso's bit, but these are opportunities for us to really kind of become a little more intimate with people, and I love that.
Absolutely. All right, my man. Thank you so much, and make sure you guys follow him on Facebook and all that other stuff. Have a good night, buddy.
This is Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. Corey Fleming is the man who leads the brigade. It's going down. This is Rasslin Rage. We'll do it now.